What is happening, Magnus sites? So, CNN did an interview with Kamala. This is her first interview. Let's check this out, and we'll see what we will see. They did. Apparently, they put it out in 3 parts, so I put all 3 parts together. So let's do this. If they put it out in 1 chunk, I'd have did it like that. But tired of waiting for the 1 chunk if they're gonna do it at all. So we will just have to see. All right. Let's get it.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus. The bus tour is well underway here in Georgia. You have less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day 1 in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation, and I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
So what would you do day 1?
Day 1, it's going to be about, 1, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit.
My issue is why not do it now since you're in office now? Like, I don't get that. I notice there's been, like I said, I watch both sides. One of the things I noticed, on the right is that they keep asking, it's like, well, if you're in office now, why not fix it now? I don't get that. Why can't they take care of it now? But what I haven't heard on the left, though, when I'm listening, I haven't heard anyone say, well, the reason why she can't fix it now is, I haven't heard that. You get what I'm saying? So,
to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life to help them buy.
What the hell was this thing I saw the other day with like illegal immigrants being given like a credit up to $150,000 for a new house? That's insanity. Or a credit for $150,000 up to $150,000 house they might want to buy, something like that. I was like, what? What? I don't even get that. Why would you help people that came into your country illegally buy a house when you got other people that's here legally struggling to buy a house? I don't get that.
A car seat to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day 1. What about you?
Well, I'm excited about this agenda, too. As I said, the idea of inspiring America to what can be. And I think many of these things that the Vice President's proposing are things that we share in values. And the child tax credit is one we know that reduces childhood poverty by 1/3. We did it in Minnesota. To have a federal partner in this, unbelievable, I think, in the impact that we can make.
You talked about, you call it the opportunity economy. You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability. One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Oh, by the way, I knew y'all didn't believe me. I recorded it the other day. Listen, Ground beef. I was talking about ground beef. And I was like, what's it like $5-6 a pack, something like that? And I think I might have said $4-5-6 a pack. See, because I know where to get deals. And people are like, oh, you got out of touch making all this YouTube money. It's like $10. Listen, you go to Whole Foods, it's $10, okay? You go to Acme, it's $10. You go to certain stores, it's $10. Look, Aldi. Go to Aldi. I saw it for like $3.99 for an organic ground beef pound, 1 pound of ground beef. It was 85%. And then 93% lean was $6. $6.19 or something like that. Because I was like, I know I'm not, you know what I mean? I know where to get the deals. And plus, like, I think even Walmart is, like, Walmart ain't no damn $10 for a pound of ground beef that's organic. It's not. Now I'm not where I'm at. Okay. So, maybe different parts of the country. Look, go to the places that give the deals. Okay. You go to Aldi, you go to Target, you go to Walmart. All right. You go to Trader Joe's. Okay. You only go to Whole Foods when you need to. Because Whole Foods is like more expensive than like everybody else if you want to get some organic food.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office, during the height of a pandemic, we saw over 10 million jobs were lost. Literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis. When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it. Which is why my agenda...
Part of me is tired of hearing this old grocery talk. I don't know about you. Are you? I feel like every time I hear her talk, or I get a sound bite or whatever, it's always a clip about groceries. Like, listen, I know it's a thing, you know what I mean? But look, let me tell you something. I know somebody right now who's one of them coupon clippers. Here's the thing. If you put any amount of time into learning about any specific thing, eventually you're going to become an expert, okay? And you all know it. Some of you could sit here and talk about Star Wars all day. You know everything about Star Wars, But there's other things too, like shopping. I know a chick right now. She's one of those people you see on the news or on these shows. One of these super coupon clippers. She knows, look, she showed me her closet. Incredible. Okay? It can be done. It can be done. The problem is most people aren't savvy. Most people are too busy with their stressful lives, their children, their husbands, being lonely, whatever it is. They get struggling with their own issues. Okay? And they just want to be able to go to the store, buy what, their favorite product is and leave. The problem is they're too high right now. And people don't have the patience, the strength to just sit down and figure it all out. I mean, look, I grew up poor, so, I know the places to shop to get the lowest prices. We all know where they are. Look, matter of fact, if you got Amazon Prime's got this whole pantry thing where you can order stuff monthly. And when you order it monthly, you get a bunch of discounts depending on how many products you order. So maybe on your 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, like say everything will be like, I don't know. I'm just trying to, because I just do it regularly. I don't really look at it like that. But if you say you buy like up to 5 items and it's like, okay, on your 5th item, like first of all, the fact that you're ordering them all on that, you might get 5% off all of them, right? Off the normal Amazon, right? But if you start adding more, you get 10%. off everything, or certain ones now because you added, and then it's like, oh, because you added a 10th one, now you're getting 15% off the 10th one, and every other one that you do that's in that category, they'll all be like, I save a lot of money by ordering through Amazon. Okay, so I'm just trying to hook y'all up with ways to save money on your groceries. Okay.
That includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging. What we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years. What we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to a
Yeah, the American dream is pretty much gone for a lot of people right now, and I'm telling you, invest in your financial IQ. Understand how money works, how this whole system works, whether it's right, wrong, corrupt, or correct. Learn how to work it legally to your advantage, okay? Because you must know this stuff if you're going to survive. If you're a high earner and you make a lot of money, you have that cushion on financial IQ. So it's kind of like if you're a millionaire, where you're making a few $100,000 a year and you're not a big spender, if you're not that smart financially, you could kind of coast and be okay because your amount of money, protects you from being broke, basically. But the people that if you don't know how to budget, you're in trouble. You know what I'm saying? If you're poor and you don't know how to budget, you're in trouble. If you're rich and you don't know how to budget, you're not really in trouble as far as your groceries and stuff goes like that, unless you're just one of them. Yeah, I went and I got the Gucci socks, so I had to get the Gucci sunglasses and I had the Gucci sandals. If you one of them people, you always got to be gaudy and buying the most expensive stuff and all that stuff, and you don't know how to take care of how to budget, and you're done. That's why most lottery winners, they end up being poor in the next few years after winning all those millions because they didn't know how to make it. They didn't know how to make millions, and they also didn't know how to keep millions. Okay, so the fact that their financial IQ is so low, they just all gone. It's all gone. You know what I mean?
achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice
Yeah,
president.
the new mortgage is now it's student loans. That's the new mortgage. You know what I mean? Look it up. People are saying this is the new mortgage. Like all of these kids are so messed up getting out financially. They go back home. They're just not making enough money. A lot of these these diplomas just ain't getting jobs that could pay them or careers that can pay them what they need to survive. You know what I mean? That's why so many people push trade schools. A lot of trades out there you can get into, and you go to trade school, you start making as much or more than doctors and lawyers. So
For 3.5 years. The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. And I'm very proud of the work that we have done has brought inflation down to less than 3%.
Sure.
The work that we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing...
You know what irritates me? This is overall, and this is both sides. One thing that they don't teach us is how to stay healthy and how to stay healthy financially. There's always like a lot of handouts in this program and that program, this medicine, this shot, this on your insurance, but it's never how to stay healthy. So RFK, one thing I like about him, he's trying to, make America healthy again. I do like that. And it's funny, I was like, Maha. We're going to start calling that Meha or Maha. And then the next day, people was like, yo, you called it. They got T-shirts already. I'm like, yep. how to stay healthy so you never have to use that health insurance. So you never have to go to the hospital. So you never ever have to get on insulin. Or how to eat right so that your diabetes regresses. It reverses. How about that? That way you never have to be on insulin again. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And then if you teach us finances, you know what I mean? It's like to teach yourself financially. It's like you have, that has to be a hobby of yours because they don't focus on it truly in our education. You're just made to be a worker and that's it, you know?
Medicare to negotiate drug prices never happened. We did it. So now, as I travel in the state of Georgia and around our country,
I don't take any drugs whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the only thing I have in the house, and I had it because at one point I was getting headaches from stress. And once you got stress headaches, the only way to get rid of them is to truly get rid of the stress. But sometimes you can have these lingering symptoms and the headache can stay. So you can do all the deep breathing, stretching, walking, sunlight, you know what I mean, massage you want. Sometimes you still got a headache. And so I would have it in the house. I don't get them no more. I manage my stress very well now. But so I've got this full bottle that's been in the house for years. You know what I'm saying? That I would use from time to time from being stressed out. But I don't use any drugs at all. You know, everything that look, after my mom passed away of cancer, I made it my goal to understand my body. Being a direct descendant of hers, I knew that I could possibly, develop it too. So I was just like, no, I'm going to find out just how this machine works. Those guys that know exactly how their car works, can fix anything, that's me. If I don't know how to fix it, I'm going to find out how to fix it. Every single time there's ever been something wrong with me, I just looked up what is a natural cure for this? What is a natural, treatment for this? And it's always worked. And sometimes it may not work for you, but you may have to find something else that works for you that's also natural. So, some might say, oh, well, oranges fix this. Also, garlic does. The garlic might not work for you. Try some oranges. You know what I'm saying? Just your biology.
The number of seniors that have benefited. I was in Nevada recently, a grandmother who showed me her receipts. And before we capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, she was paying hundreds of dollars up to thousands of dollars.
And I asked that question and I still didn't get no answer on it when I was like, if her approval rating was worse than Biden's, how is she so quote unquote popular now? How is she so quote unquote ahead of Trump in the polls? Like it doesn't make you believe it. It's like, Disney saying that, hey, Captain Marvel did so well. It's like, no, it didn't. Nobody liked it. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can, when the machine is behind you, you can promote something or someone to look as good as you want to. You get what I mean?
It's a month for her insulin. She's not doing that anymore.
You maintain Bidenomics is a success.
I maintain that when we do the work of bringing down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000, when we do what we did in the first year of being in office to extend the child tax credit so that we cut child poverty in America by over 50%, when we do what we have done to invest in the American people and bringing manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, bringing business back to America, what we have done to improve the supply chain so we're not relying on foreign governments to supply American families with their basic needs, I'll say that that's good work. There's more to do, but that's good work.
I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, "There is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Drill, baby, drill.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
In 2019, I believe, at a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question, I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed in that campaign?
In 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position at the time?
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed.
Hey, at least she's standing on business. She's like, I feel like they're not softballing her. She's asking her. She's nicely asking, okay, so you said this though. So what's happening? What made you change your mind? You know,
I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to.
I'm gonna get a Kamala Harris impression down sooner or later. She does this a lot, and this, and this. She does stuff like that. I'm starting to see what she does. I'm starting to get it down.
To guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over 10.
Oh, I'm going to be harassing Scarlo all day. Wait till she get home and be like, what I want from you is I want you to cook me dinner. And I want you, I'm telling you, man, I'm going to have so much fun with her.
Next 10 years. Investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking as vice president. So I'm very clear about where I stand.
And was there some policy or scientific data that you saw that you said, oh, okay, I get it now?
What I have seen is that we can grow and we can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.
Another big one is immigration. As vice president, you were tasked with addressing the root causes of migration in southern countries and
Northern part of Central America.
the northern part of Central America that affects the southern border of the U.S. Mm-hmm. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers of illegal border crossings. Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we began that work. But I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border. And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support. And Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border. And because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill. A border security bill that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border. And let me tell you something, the Border Patrol endorsed the bill. And I'm sure in large part because they knew they were working around the clock and 1,500 more agents would help them. That bill would have allowed us to increase seizures of fentanyl. Ask any community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl what passing that bill would have done to address their concern and a pain that they've experienced.
Why is he here if it's her interview? It's interesting dynamic. I mean, I don't exactly have a problem with it, but this is kind of people are talking about it like it's her interview, but I guess it's not. I guess it's both of them, their interview. That's why I was kind of being led to believe that this was her interview, but I guess it's their interview. Another thing is like, well, okay, if you were going to have a bunch of agents at the border, you wanted to do that. Why are you busing a bunch of people in now?
You would push that legislation again. I just want to
Not
ask
only
about
push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
just one other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to
I don't know what that is. Decriminalizing the border? I don't know what that is.
be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's be clear, in this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
Wait a minute. If they should be prosecuted, then why bust all these people in? Why bust all the illegals? I don't, man.
To trafficking guns, drugs, and human beings. I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws. And I would enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my...
You know, I notice when people learning business and reading success books, one of the key things to do is when you're addressing someone is to use their name. Because when you use someone's name, people usually like the sound of their own name. So it's a way of gaining friendship or approval from that person when you say that to them. Hey, Tyrone, could you help me with something? That's something. Could you help me with something? Or I have a challenge for you. I don't have a problem. I have a challenge for you. I need this. There's a few different things out there you can do with the way you word things when you talk to people. It's very interesting. I'm seeing certain things.
My values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. As an example, that value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed. So that is the reality of it. In 4 years of being vice president, I'll tell you one of the aspects to your point.
Well, I guess they calling it her interview because she's the only one talking. She doesn't seem to be talking to him. But I know there's a clip out there of him addressing the whole stolen valor thing. So I guess he does get a question sooner or later.
Is traveling the country extensively. I mean, I'm here in Georgia. I think somebody told me 17 times since I've been vice president in Georgia alone. I believe it is important to build consensus. And it is important to find a common place of understanding of where we can actually solve problems.
On that note, you had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone in mind?
I would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the horse. But I would. I think it's really important. I have spent my career inviting diversity of opinion. I think it's.
She does this. He does this. She does this. He does this.
It's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump. I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
What's funny is the majority of the people that I've seen that have done all the digging find out is basically she's a brown, Asian, Indian woman, period, point blank, and she has some Caucasian in her. I was looking at a bunch of stuff, and it all seems to come down to her father. Was he like half Irish, is it? And then half Indian. By the way, Jamaican's not a color, y'all. People keep, you listen, okay? Look, any white person watching me, if you were born in Jamaica, you'd be Jamaican. Okay, it doesn't make you black. Reminds me of that time when I said that Anderson Silva is a black man, and people were like, no, he's not, he's Brazilian. Then I had to say to them, listen, if I were born in Russia, wouldn't I be a black Russian? I wouldn't be white, correct? All right, then. So, the only person I saw in my travels is this whole storm of whether she's black or not that I ran into was Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar Johnson said that she was 1/4 African blood. She has 1/4, which would still make her mainly an Indian woman. I had a point to this. I'm sorry.
Any
Same old tired playbook.
recently for
Oh, yeah. Okay. Talking about
questioning a
this.
core part of your identity.
Yeah.
And I saw a bunch of them clips. She just was repping Indian forever. I saw them clips. I saw that collage, that compilation of clips. She was claiming Indian forever. East Indian, all the way up until a certain point, and it was like, ha. Let me see how she answers this.
Any
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
All she wants, see. Now people ain't gonna like that, because that's gonna look like she glazed over it, like she ran from that question.
That's it.
Okay. Let's talk about some foreign policy issues that would
People gonna get her for that one. I watched the videos on it. I ain't saying nothing, but I noticed it. That this is, I'm gonna take the high road. I'm gonna take the high road on that. But people want her to specifically address it. I know they do.
be on your plate if you become commander-in-chief.
Explain your... What happened?
Vice President.
No!
Wells, thank you so much
No!
for being down with me and bringing the bus.
Damn it.
Recover as a benefit for
So that you commit to first day in office, and you said there's no question.
I pressed the wrong button. It took it all the way back to the beginning.
Well, first of all, worked with Craft. Let me tell you something. Been
Last ran, there was a debate. You raised your hand when asked
Trent,
in a Democratic primary.
to which we did that with the Inflation Reduction Act.
Damn it.
We, to
Was
Soon, but what? Donald Trump.
There it is.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any
Same old tired playbook.
If it was me, I would have been so ready to lay down specifically, like if it was me and I was Indian and I had to prove that I was black, I would be ready to, with receipts of how and why I'm a black woman, okay? That sounded weird to say, but I wouldn't have glossed over it. Because the opposition, the other side, wants to know. There's certain people are just going to vote for her just because, either she's a woman or just because she's saying she's black. But if you've been following it, I'm like, yeah, it's a good point. Why you been rapping Indian all this time and now all of a sudden? So.
Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Let's talk about some foreign policy issues that would be on your plate if you become commander-in-chief. President Biden has tried unsuccessfully to end the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. He's been doing it for months and months, along with you. Would you do anything differently? For example, would you withhold some U.S. weapons shipments to Israel? That's what a lot of people on the progressive left want you to do.
Let me be very clear. I'm unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself. And that's not going to change. But let's take a step back. October 7, 1,200 people were massacred. Many young people who were simply attending a music festival. Women were horribly raped. As I said then, I say today, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And we have got to get a deal done. We were in Doha. We have to get a deal done. This war must end.
In the meantime,
and we must get a deal that is about getting the hostages out. I've met with the families of the American hostages. Let's get the hostages out. Let's get the ceasefire done.
but no change in policy in terms of arms and so forth.
No, we have to get a deal done. Dana, we have to get a deal done. When you look at the significance of this to the families, to the people who are living in that region, a deal is not only the right thing to do to end this war, but will unlock so much of what must happen next. I remain committed since I've been on October 8 to what we must do to work toward a two-state solution, where Israel is secure and in equal measure, the Palestinians have security and self-determination and dignity.
Governor Walz, the country is just starting to get to know you. I want to ask you a question about how you've described your service in the National Guard. You said that you carried weapons in war, but you have never deployed actually in a war zone. A campaign official said that you misspoke. Did you?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly proud. I've done 24 years of wearing the uniform of this country. Equally proud of my service in a public school classroom, whether it's Congress or the governor. My record speaks for itself, but I think people are coming to get to know me. I speak like they do. I speak candidly. I wear my emotions on my sleeves. And
I'm just laughing at how she's looking at him. He was looking at her like that too, the whole time, nodding in approval. It's just funny how people do things when they're running for office. That's all.
I speak especially passionately about our children being shot in schools and around guns. So I think people know me. They know who I am. They know where my heart is. And again, my record has been out there for over 40 years to speak for itself.
And the idea that you said that you were in war, did you misspeak as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct. But again, if it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have, and I never will.
I just one other question, because again, this is all new.
Yeah.
This was not however many days ago. This was not on either of your bingo cards, especially yours. You had to clarify that you had said that you and your wife used IVF, but it turned out you used a different kind of fertility in order to have children. And then when you ran for Congress in 2006, your campaign repeatedly made false statements about a 1995 arrest for drunk and reckless driving. What do you say to voters who aren't sure whether they can take you at your word?
Well, I've been very public. I think they can
She's
see
asking.
my students come out, former folks I've served with,
I don't know about that whole drunk driving thing or whatever.
and they vouch for me. I certainly own my mistakes when I make them. The one thing I'll tell you is I wished in this country wouldn't have to do this. I spoke about our infertility issues because it's hell, and families know this. And I spoke about the treatments that were available to us that had those beautiful children there. That's quite a contrast in folks that are trying to take those rights away from us. And so I think people know who I am. They know that record. They've seen that. I've taught thousands of students. I've been out there. And I won't apologize for speaking passionately, whether it's guns in schools or protecting of reproductive rights. The contrast could not be clearer between what we're running against. The vice president's position on this has been clear. And
is he the guy they were talking about? He believes up until abortion, up until the 9th month. If that's him, good Lord.
I think most Americans get it if you've been through that. I don't think they're cutting hairs on IVF or IUI. I think what they're cutting hairs on is an abortion ban and the ability to be able to deny families the chance to have a beautiful child.
Vice President Harris.
Well, you deny yourself that whenever you have abortions.
You were a very staunch defender of President Biden's capacity to serve another 4 years. Right after the debate, you insisted that President Biden is extraordinarily strong. Given where we are now, do you have any regrets about what you told the American people?
No, not at all. Not at all. I have
You said he could.
served with President Biden for almost 4 years now, and I'll tell you, it's one of the greatest honors of my career, truly.
You said he could do it, though. Now you taking his place.
Deeply about the American people. He is so smart and loyal to the American people. And I have spent hours upon hours with him, be it in the Oval Office or the Situation Room. He has the intelligence, the commitment, and the judgment and disposition that I think the American people rightly deserve in their president. By contrast, the former president has none of that. And so, one, I am so proud to have served as vice president.
Jumped on.
And two, I'm so proud to be running with Tim Walz for president of the United States and to bring America.
Let's see if she doubles
what
down
I
on that
believe
question.
The American people
So I
deserve,
feel like it
which is a new way
really
forward and
wasn't
turn
answered.
the page on the last decade of what I believe has been contrary to where the spirit of our country really lies.
But the last decade, of course, the last 3.5 years has been part of your administration.
I'm talking about an era that started about a decade ago, where there is some suggestion, warped I believe it to be, that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of where I believe most Americans are, which is to believe that the true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. That's what's at stake as much as any other detail that we could discuss in this election.
Because we haven't had a chance to talk, I'm just curious, staying on President Biden, when he called you and said he was pulling out of the race, what was that like? And did he offer to endorse you right away, or did you ask for it?
It was...
I think she's going to say she didn't ask for it. That would be the humble thing to do.
It was a Sunday, so here, I'll give you a little too much information.
Go for it. There's no such thing.
That might have been hey, a lot of people was talking about this, like, you might have all been playing. Like, look, I knew it was going to happen anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she might be like, I knew it was going to happen anyway. Yeah, we all had a meeting. Let me see, what's the best story? It was on a Sunday.
Vice President.
My family was staying with us, and including my baby nieces, and we had just had pancakes and, Auntie, can I have more bacon? Yes.
It's just so funny. Okay. See, I was in sales for years, okay? There is certain jargon you use to dress certain things up, okay? When you're selling. Okay, now I was an honest salesman, okay? I would never, ever lie to my customers to get a sale. However, there is a way to speak to people so that you can sell them the proper product, okay, you maximize your product's strengths, you minimize the weaknesses, okay? And if there are weaknesses, you talk about them, you're very upfront with them. However, you let them know what you have that the competition doesn't have. It's just funny how she's like, it's on a Sunday. My family was here. See, family, that's big to people. We were just eating pancakes, bacon. Because you see, we're having a wholesome Sunday morning with family and breakfast. That sells wholesomeness, goodness, honesty to the American that's listening to her talk about that. See what I'm talking about?
Making more bacon, and then
the opposite, well, not opposite, the different road that Trump takes is he's very matter of fact. He just comes off as a guy that you know down the street that's one of the boys, but he just happens to have money. So that's his whole shtick. You know what I mean? The weird thing about it is, you know, Donald Trump has been in the media forever. Like, that seems like that's him. It doesn't seem like it's an act. With her, I don't know. You know what I mean? But with him, it's like, we've seen Donald Trump forever. Like, he's always acted like this. It's like nothing different going on here.
We were sitting down to do a puzzle.
Oh, it's funny. Wait.
We were sitting down to do a puzzle.
Yo, I love this.
I asked him, "Are you sure?"
Oh.
And he said yes. And
I'm sorry, I missed Sales laughing so much.
And the phone rang, and it was Joe Biden.
Okay.
And he told me what he had decided to do. And I asked him, "Are you sure?" And he said yes. And that's how I learned about it.
And what about the endorsement? Did you ask for it?
And he was very clear that he was going to support me.
So when he called to tell you, he said, "I'm pulling out of the race and I'm going to support you."
Well, my first thought was not about me, to be honest with you. My first thought was about him, to be honest.
You got to make it selfless.
I think history is going to show a number of things about Joe Biden's presidency. I think history is going to show that in so many ways it was transformative. Be it on what we have accomplished around finally investing in America's infrastructure, investing in new economies, in new industries, what we have done to bring our allies back together and have confidence in who we are as America and grow that alliance, what we have done to stand true to our principles, including the one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I think history is going to show not only has Joe Biden led an administration that has achieved those extraordinary successes, but the character of the man is one that he has been in his life and career, including as a president, quite selfless and puts the American people first.
I just have to ask you both about two standout moments, aside, of course, from the addresses that you both gave, but standout moments that were perhaps unexpected during the convention. You mentioned one of them, Governor. A moment that you shared, that the world shared with your son, Gus. You were speaking, the camera caught him, so incredibly proud of you, so emotional, saying, "That's my dad."
He looks just like him. He looks like him.
I don't know as a father I could have ever imagined that. I'm grateful for so many reasons to be on this ticket, but that moment, to understand what was really important, to have my son feel a sense of pride in me, that I was trying to do the right thing. And it was, you try and protect your kids, it brings notoriety and things, but it was just such a visceral, emotional moment that I'm grateful I got to experience it, and I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of Hope. I'm proud of Gwen. She's a wonderful mother, and these are great kids. And I think the one thing is talking about the era we're in is our politics can be better. It can be different. We can we can show some of these things and we can have families involved in this. And I hope that there was I hope people felt that out there, and I hope they hug their kids a little tighter, because you just never know, and life can be kind of hard.
And last question, Madam Vice President, the photograph that has gone viral. You were speaking, one of your grandnieces that you were just talking about was watching you accept the nomination. You didn't explicitly talk about gender or race in your speech, but it obviously means a lot to a lot of people on that.
That looks as good as the that looks as good as the Trump pumping the fist. It's like, just the right moment. Or was it a setup?
Picture really says it. What does it mean to you?
You know, I am running because I believe that I am the best person to do this job at this moment, for all Americans, regardless of race and gender. But I did see that photograph, and I was deeply touched by it. And you're right, it's the back of her head, her two little braids, and then I'm in the front of the photograph, obviously speaking. And it's very humbling. It's very humbling in many ways.
Did she talk to you about it afterwards?
Oh, she had a lot to talk about. She had a lot. She listened to everything, and she listens to everything.
Give you your hot takes?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for
you.
having
Thank
us.
you, Dana. Thank you.
That's it. That was it. Okay. All right. Comment below. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. 10 million subscribers. Woo.